Can you believe we're already at the halfway point in the Premier League this season? It's gone by so quickly and so much has happened, so let's dissect it all. We'll start with the newly promoted teams, and I think going into that, it was clear that two would really struggle massively. A lot of people had Fulham and Bournemouth heavily struggling in the Premier League campaign this season, because both teams didn't really add a lot during the summer, while Nottingham Forest spent so much money. And to be fair, if you look back on the Forest team that won the playoff final, they had to spend a load of money because so many of their players were loan players. And how it's transpired is that Bournemouth sacked Scott Parker really early on because there were disagreements about the transfer policy, and Forest, they struggled really badly at one point. I remember they lost 4-0 against Leicester, and it was a turning point really because the Forest hierarchy decided to back Steve Cooper. And from there, they've been okay, picking up key wins against Southampton and that stunning win against Liverpool. I know Liverpool haven't been the team of old, but still, for a newly promoted side like Forest to beat Liverpool was very impressive. But Fulham, wow. I mean, in terms of grading all the teams, they certainly would get an A-star. And you know what, I did say at the beginning of the season, I said Mitrovic would score minimum 15 goals, and he's definitely going to do that, or has done that already. But the fact they are 6th on recording this video is just stunning. And it's the fact that they are able to keep clean sheets despite the centre-back pairing of Ream and Tosin Adarabioyo, the two centre-backs that were with Fulham in their last Premier League campaign, where they conceded so many goals. Well, also down there are Saints and Everton, Wolves and West Ham and Leeds. And actually, you kind of got to throw Leicester into that category as well. And today, actually, as I record this, Everton have sacked Frank Lampard. But as everyone knows, he is not the only issue at the club. Wolves sacked Bruno Lage as well towards the beginning of the season and appointed Julian Lopetegui of all managers, which I think that's signing of manager just is the absolute epitome of how strong this league is now. And I think that is an overall theme I'm getting so far of this season, is that it's been the strongest and most competitive season for years. And thankfully, as a neutral, there's no one or two teams that are just completely gone already. I mean, David Moyes is struggling at West Ham, but I think they'll be fine with or without Moyes. Leeds under Marsh, again, they should be okay with or without Marsh, just because of some of the great young players that they have will get them over the line. Leicester don't look very good under Brendan Rodgers, and they haven't got a lot of money to spend. But again, similar to, well, West Ham really, I think the squad is just good enough to stay up. But then there's always one team that just collapses around about this point of the season. Certainly say, you know, a proper traditional Premier League team like Everton and Wolves, they're both right in the relegation battle. And it's crazy to think already in this Premier League campaign, you've got Liverpool and Chelsea behind Fulham, Brighton and Brentford. And I said at the beginning of the season, Brighton and Brentford will continue to take strides in this season because both teams have got such good recruitment models that they'll be fine. And you've seen that with Brighton. They've lost Graham Potter and they've lost influential players, you know, Maupay in the past, Trossard, Dan Burn, and they're actually not only able to replace these players, but actually the replacements are better than the ones that they are sold on. And I mean, it's still quite early to call on now, but you'd say that Liverpool and Chelsea completely out the top 4 race. Speaking of which, it kind of looks set, sort of, maybe. I mean, currently as it stands, Man United are 5 points clear of Tottenham with a game in hand and are in really good form at the moment, but there's always going to be bumps and twists and turns, and despite Spurs being Spurs, Antonio Conte is still an excellent manager, and with Son and Kane up front, they've always still got a great chance. I say that though, there are rumours that because Kane is running into his final 18 months of his contract, he could leave for Man United, which would just be unbelievable drama. So stunning. And Newcastle, I mean, they're on 39 points at the moment. Are they going to be in the top 4? Seeing the Newcastle fans back in the Champions League, back in the big competitions, this just would be absolutely great. And speaking of Newcastle, they are in the League Cup semi-final. Their first fixture against Saints, actually, as I record this video, is tomorrow. And what a brilliant season it would be for Newcastle fans, reaching top 4, getting past Saints and reaching, you know, a League Cup final, potentially against Man United, probably against Man United. Great for them. And then the biggest surprise of all, the fact that Arsenal are top of the league and 5 points clear of Man City. I think Mikel Arteta always had really good potential as a manager, and Arsenal's first team are not only very talented, but are so young, so they've got so much potential. But for me, it's just the manner of which they finished last season. The fact they're now top of the league and have done so well, they've only lost one game. They're unbeaten at home. The issue really is his squad and the size of it, and maybe the lack of experience compared to Man City and all those serial title winners, and the fact that the teams haven't played each other yet. But there's just so much drama, and it's great to see a different team other than Man City and Liverpool up there at the top of the Premier League. So overall, it's been so exciting. It's great to see a different team at the top of the Premier League. You got Newcastle pushing for top 4. Fulham, Brighton and Brentford are doing so well this season. I mean, especially Fulham. They are absolutely the surprise package of the season. Liverpool and Chelsea just completely collapsing as well. And thankfully for now, touch wood, there's no 1 or 2 teams that are just completely out of the picture in terms of staying up in the Premier League. So let's hope that all continues. Let me know your thoughts and your predictions as to what will happen by the end of the Premier League season in the comments below. I'd really appreciate that.